Hi beautiful people, welcome to Kate Space. Welcome to my channel. I'm Kate from Pixie Designs, and I have a whole lot more of those library cards. I got my daughter to send me down a box, and I've spent a bit of time sorting them into packs of 60, and I thought I'd do another video having a play with them. Now a few people have started having a go, and I got a beautiful picture sent to me from Pauline in Wellington, and she has said I can show it to you. So have a look at these beautiful collage library cards that Pauline has created. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love them, and yeah, thanks Pauline for letting me show those. So that's another sort of bit of inspiration for you. Now I'm just going to have a little bit of a play just quickly. There's so many things that you could do with these. So I'm going to start with what I thought would be good, which would be some napkin decoupage. I've got this mat down because it's probably going to get messy. I've got a napkin here with some poppies on it. And it looks like I've got some ink on there. I'm going to do this side. Let's have a look. What do I want to do? It's a bit tall. Yeah, I'll do this. Now I've got my little brush. You can use scissors to cut around these, or I use this wet brush, and you get a bit more of a rough edge, which I like. It's just, and then you just gently tear it. And I'm going to take this off here. So that's quite a lot. I wonder if I bring it down, what that will look like. Maybe I'll actually take this off here. This one at the top. So we've got more library cards showing. And these are just examples of things that you can do. And as you saw from Pauline's, you can do a much better job than what I can even do. Let me have a look and see if I want it. No, I'm going to do it that way. And so this is, because you just get a random lot, they may say maybe you might get a card that has got a title of something that's doesn't really resonate with you. This is how you can deal with that problem. You just cover it up. And then if you've got one that you really love what it says on it, then obviously you're not going to cover it up. You might just leave it as is. For those of you who didn't see the other video about the library cards, or the library catalogue cards, I guess that's what you call them. So they were the cards that you had to find certain books in the library, in the filing drawers, back before the computers and such like. So they're vintage. Now, what I tend to do is always end up putting too much glue on. Now I'm using a Liquitex gel, matte gel medium, and it's a bit bubbly for some reason. Probably maybe I got the napkin too wet, but anyway, that gives you an idea. I'm just going to put my brush in the water. We'll let that dry a little bit, then we'll come back to it. So yeah, napkin decoupage. The other thing I thought of is I've got all these inks that I never use, and sometimes it can be fun to have a bit of a smush with your inks. What have I done with all the, oh there we are. So I've got another card And I'm going to try some colours I don't normally use. So I've got some green here. So I'm just going to smush that on my mat, and then I've got a little bit of spray water. I'm going to go like that, and then I'm just going to smudge my card into it like that. And then I'm going to dry it off. Okay, now, as you know, I'm far from a mixed media expert. I'm absolutely not at all. But I do know that if you're going to do two different coloured inks, you should dry in between. Otherwise, you just end up with just a manky colour. So I'm just going to put some more ink down. This is like Scattered Straw, and the other one was called Peeled Paint. These are old inks. I've had them for many years, and they very rarely get used. And I'm going to do the splodgy thing again and get a bit of yellow on there. Okay, so I probably did a bit much green, but that's okay. And there you've got a background. I mean, you could just leave it like that, or I'm going to stamp it. Am I going to stamp it? I'm going to use my favourite rose stamp, and we'll just see what that looks like. But you could do napkin over the top of this, or some texture paste stenciling over the top. Anything really. I'm not sure how this is going to look, but there we go. So there we've got sort of a splodgy background and a rose stamp. The other thing I thought I might try is some heat embossing. Excuse me. I don't have many embossing powders. I have white, gold and silver. So I quite like the gold. I've got this stamp here, which I'm going to try. It's got butterflies on it. I'm not going to do anything on the background, although I could. I'm not going to though. So I've got this old Ranger clear Embossing ink pad which dried out, and then I added some of this dauber to it, and now I've made it too wet, so I'm not sure. I don't want to put too much on because you'll lose the details if it's too wet. Do I want it that way or that way? I'm going to go that way. And hope for the best. Put that aside. And then I'm going to sprinkle my How is everybody? I didn't ask you how you are. I hope you're all well. Nearly finished the Reader's Digest journals. But I thought I'd put this video up just for a break from the same old thing every day, every time. Okay, so we've got our stamp there. I'm just going to pop that aside and try and get all that back into the pot. So I hope you're well and crafting and everyone's good. We're good. Bit of a cooler day today and some rain. Quite autumny. Okay, so now I'm going to melt this. I mean, I should have my glass mat down and then I wouldn't have to hold these, but anyway. So So then we have another one. So that's very simple. I feel like it probably needs something else, but it's just an example of what you could use. So that's some gold heat embossed paper. But yeah, it does look a little bit lonely on there. It needs something else. I don't know what at this stage. And then the other thing I wanted to do was use the stencil. I wanted to use the stencil. I think I might try using just ink on the stencil and see how it goes. But it might not work. I'm not very good at stenciling. I'm just going to run that over gently. So that's quite sweet as well. And actually you could do some napkin decupage over the top of that. That would look nice. You would probably see that peeking through, I think. But I wanted to use some of the Tim Holtz die cuts. I just don't know if that background's the right background for it, but that's okay. I thought I might use this tall one and then maybe a shorter one. Maybe a different, two different colors maybe. And then I wanted to put a butterfly on, but if we've got the blue background, maybe we could look for a different coloured, maybe a blue butterfly. I don't use butterflies very often, but when I saw Pauline's, I thought how lovely they were. Well, that's a sticker. I've got this one which is cut out of an old book. The blue doesn't really work. Got some huge ones that are cut out of that book, an old book, butterfly book I had. That's kind of a faded one with a little bit of blue on it. That might work. So I'm going to try and glue these on. The small one on first, and I'm just going to use some art glitter glue and try and get all these little tiny bits. These are quite hard to glue on. If I use glue stick, I just tend to get it everywhere. It gets caught on the edges and smudges underneath, and then I tear something off. So that's, again, could probably brush it with matte medium. That would probably work. Okay, so I'm going to glue this one on first. Still seem to have that little cough. I came home when I was in Brisbane, which is ages ago now, and I had a little bit of a cold, and now I've just got this sort of cough hanging on. I don't know what that is about. I don't know where this butterfly is from. Again, it'll be from some scrapbooking paper that I've had for ages. I hardly ever use butterflies. I used to use them all the time. So I'm going to glue that little butterfly on up there, just in the middle. I'm not going to glue its wings down. And I'm wondering whether it needs a little label. Yeah, so these are a lot of fun. And yeah, I was talking to Pauline and she said, you know, for a small little project, if you've only got a few minutes and you just want to do something, these are kind of a good size. They keep you in check. You've just got a really small piece to put place at things, and yeah. So yeah, that's another one. So let's trim. This is dried pretty well. I actually dry embossed some, but I don't know where I put them, so I'll go and have a look and see if I can find those as well. So we've got this in the hole, covering up the hole, so I'll just, probably shouldn't have done that. I should have peeled that off while it was wet. It's all right. So we've got one with Napkin, which I really like. Excuse me. We've got this little one with a bit of stenciling behind and the die cuts and the butterfly. We've got this simple one which needs something else. I'm not quite sure what. Maybe some fabric or something. I've got this here. But yeah, you could put a little bit of something like that. No, not that though. So we've got the heat embossing, so that's what that looks like. And then we've got the smudging, the ink smudging. So there's that green and yellow one. And then this one here is a mix of some of these sparkly Lindy's Gang sprays. Let's have a go. I've got a few minutes. Don't want to bore you all to tears. So I'm going to give it a spray and see what happens. Okay. And dry it. It's very pink and it's very sparkly. It's quite pretty. And then I have these 49 and Market rub-ons that we could have a play with. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but we can give it a go. So I'm just going to cut around there. Cut these individual leaves off. Okay, so I'm going to pop that there like that, because that's down now and it wants to stay there. And I'm going to rub them on. I mean, if you can do watercolors, that would be really cool as well. I'm not good at watercolors, but if you you could get the same effect with the smudging of watercolors. Oops, I missed some of that leaf, didn't I? I wonder if I can get it on. And then we've got all these extra leaves. Might try and put this one at the top. Might be a bit much, but anyway, you get the idea. Again, if you're trying to keep things very flat as well, rub-ons are really good. I'm just thinking that maybe I should be using these in my writing journal that I'm doing at the moment. And then I've got all these little extra leaves, but I don't really know which you can just add on if you want to. Cute. Right, I'm going to leave it like that. So there we go. That's actually quite sweet, isn't it? It's just a pretty little journaling card that could go in a journal. So yeah, hang on, let me just collect up all these leaves. Should probably use those now, or else they're going to get completely lost and wrecked. Yeah, so that's the same. That's actually some of this Lindy's Gang. I don't know if you can see the shimmer. I think you can see a little bit of the shimmer, and then some of this speckled egg ink spludged on. So there we go. And again, you could put a fussy cut on there, or even just a big butterfly or a small butterfly. Any kind of butterfly. So yeah, that can be decorated or stamped, would be nice as well. So we've got lots more stamping, but I think I did stamping before. So the heat embossing, which is quite fun. And then another little bit of collage, but using some die cuts, and the napkin decoupage. So yeah, lots to be going on with, and yeah, they're fun. There's one I did before. This one here I did with the same stencil as this, but I used the heat emboss and I used white, but it just spludged underneath the it went underneath the stencil a little bit, so it's not very sharp, but it's still quite cool. We could still use it. And I've cut these out of some of my eco printed papers that were a bit damaged. So I'm going to glue those down. Might as well, since I've done that one. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's certainly not so bad that I need to throw it away, I don't think. Basically, if anyone buys anything from me, they're going to end up with a library card. I've got so many. So yeah, so these are going to be in my shop. It's $20 plus postage for $60. They'll be just randomly collated. But you shouldn't get a whole lot that are all the same. Remembering they're from what I think is the theology or philosophy department of Otago University. So there's quite a few sort of religious, spiritual type titles. So there's a mix of titles of books and then authors. So, or titles of books or subjects of books, if you know what I mean, topics. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix. So there we go, that's some more of Tim Holtz's stuff, and a little orange butterfly, or the green one. I don't know why I left those white antennae on that. Oh, I'll tell you what I did, because Marie asked about this. I think I mentioned this in one of my videos about putting thread underneath your butterfly to represent the antennae when you cut the antennae off because it's too hard. And she was wondering what I meant. So Marie, if you're watching, this is what I meant. You just bunch up a whole lot of threads like this. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it just means that you've got this kind of stringy thing going on that kind of, it isn't antennae and it's not meant to actually look like antennae, but it kind of represents that part of the butterfly. So yeah, maybe I've done a bit much there, but that's okay. So yeah, you just bunch up some thread underneath. It's not going to glue down now, is it? Maybe a little bit less. So there we go. There we go, we have more library cards to play with. So yeah, they'll be in my shop when this video goes up. $20 for $60. I'll send them letter rate. I've packaged them flat. They will come looking like this. I've packaged them on some old hanging folder, and I've wrapped them in some book paste so they should stay where they are. They'll stay flat and they can be sent letter rate so I can keep the postage low. So that's the plan. I've done, I think I've done, well, at the moment there's about 12 lots that will go into the shop, and I'll just keep making more, see how well these sell. Yeah, so thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you like those. I mean, they're not earth-shattering, but they're just some more little ideas. And if you do make any, tag me or send me a picture so I can share it. I can share it with you guys. So yeah, cool. Thanks so much, and I'll see you again soon in the next video. Bye.